Take a moment to imagine this. Someone you love takes their final breath peacefully, without fear, without restlessness. Their face looks like someone who has just taken off a heavy jacket after a long journey. You might have heard the saying, dying is like changing clothes. But is it really that simple? And if so, why does this clothing feel so incredibly hard to take off for many of us? Welcome back to Dharma Friday, the place where we sit down slowly, take a deep breath, and look at life from angles we often miss. Today, we are discussing something we usually avoid, but secretly wonder about: how to leave this life without regrets. And the good news is, this isn't a conversation about death. It is a conversation about how to live more fully. We often think the scariest part of death is death itself. But if we are honest, that is rarely the heaviest part. The truly heavy burden comes from unfinished business, the apologies left unsaid, the phone calls we kept putting off, the "I love you" still stuck in our throats, or the harsh words that once hurt someone, which we still carry in secret. Notice this. People who are restless at the end of their lives are often not restless because they are leaving, but because they feel something is left unresolved. And that is exactly where our real work lies. Let's return to that earlier phrase. Dying is like changing clothes. It's a beautiful metaphor you have likely heard before. But allow me to clarify one thing, gently and respectfully. The imagery of changing clothes often comes from traditions that believe in an eternal soul moving from one body to another, just like changing an outfit. In Buddhism, the picture is slightly different. The Buddha actually invites us to see that there is no fixed soul carrying the same suitcase everywhere. So what makes departure feel light isn't the idea that our soul is changing clothes. What makes it light is a relieved heart and hands that are no longer gripping too tightly. That is the difference. And that is exactly where the good news lies. Look at our own bodies. In the Dharma, this body is not our true self. It is more like borrowed clothing. The Buddha once offered the metaphor that this body is like sea foam or a bubble that appears briefly, only to burst. The problem is, we forget that all of this is merely borrowed. We assume this is me, this is mine, and it will belong to us forever. So we grip it tightly. And precisely because we grip it so hard, when the time comes to let go, it feels as if it is being violently ripped away. Imagine holding a handful of sand. The tighter you squeeze your fist, the more it hurts, and the tenser your hand becomes. But when you open your palm, the sand is still there, yet your hand is relaxed. Life works the exact same way. Wait a moment. I want to invite you to think with me. Pause for a second and ask yourself, if today were my last day, what is the one thing I would want to resolve? Don't just answer it in your head. Write it down in the comments section. Even a single word is enough. Sometimes writing it down is the first step to truly resolving it. Now, we arrive at the core of the matter. The Buddha was once asked by his disciple, Ananda, something along these lines. What is the purpose of living a virtuous life? What is the benefit of being a good person? And the Buddha's answer flowed like a perfectly arranged set of stairs. A good life, guarding our speech, actions, and intentions, gives birth to one thing: freedom from regret. From this freedom comes relief. From relief comes calmness. From calmness, the mind becomes collected and clear. Notice the sequence. Everything begins from one seemingly simple point: living without causing harm. So, dying in peace isn't something that magically drops from the sky. It is cultivated starting right now, through the little things we do every single day. Leaving this world lightly is ultimately not about how wealthy, famous, or successful we are. In the end, what truly matters is one thing: a heart that holds no heavy burdens. There is one phrase in the Buddhist tradition that always stops me in my tracks whenever I read it. It is said that one of the fruits of a virtuous life is the ability to die without confusion. Imagine that. At the most uncertain moment of human existence, the mind remains clear, no panic, no regret, no struggling. And do you know what the most touching part is? That rare peace isn't built on the final day of life. It is built on ordinary days, today and yesterday. When we choose to be honest, even when it is hard. When we choose to do good, even when no one is watching. Those ordinary days are actually depositing peace into a savings account for the most important day of all. So, how do we practice this? It is simple, but not always easy. First, resolve your regrets before the end comes, not when it arrives. Is there an overdue apology? Say it. Is there an act of kindness you've been delaying? Do it. Is there a fractured relationship? Mend it while you still have time. Second, loosen your grip on wealth, pride, and grudges. The tighter we clutch them now, the heavier it will be when we are forced to let them go. And the gentlest way to loosen our grip is by giving. Loving kindness and generosity aren't just good for others. They also train our hands to open. A person who is used to giving, forgiving, and letting go of small things will be much more prepared when it's time to let go of the biggest thing, their own body. Their hands are already trained. Before we close, there is one thing I want to share from the bottom of my heart. If this conversation about death feels too heavy for you, or if you are grieving and have lost someone, that is completely natural. You do not have to force yourself to be strong, all alone. Take it one step at a time. And if the burden feels too overwhelming, speak to someone you trust or seek professional help. That is not a sign of weakness. It is simply another way of caring for yourself with compassion. Ultimately, leaving without regret isn't about dying beautifully. It is about living fully, forgiving a little faster, loving without waiting for later, loosening our grip slowly so that when the day comes for us to leave, we can let go as effortlessly as taking off an outfit we no longer need to wear. Click like if you believe this conversation deserves to reach more people. And subscribe so we can sit down together slowly again next Friday. See you then. Take good care of yourself. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.